Hello, mathletes. Did you guess? Did you guess today that we were going to be subtracting fractions with like denominators? You guessed right. Yesterday, we worked on addition. Today, we're working on subtraction. So let's look at some of these donuts. We have a whole donut here. Can you see the equal groups? You're right. This whole donut was broken into 4 equal parts. So a whole donut would be, this would be 4/4. If you took away 2/4 like we did here, how many fourths would you be left with? Great job. Let's come over here. Let's look at this donut. We don't have a whole donut here. We had 1/3 of a donut. We took away 1/3 of a donut. How many donuts would we have? So now let's do a warm-up. For this warm-up, I want you to identify the fractions. What fraction of each figure is shaded? I want you to write the fraction, and then I want you to write it down as a word. Do you have a piece of paper? Get a piece of paper and put this on pause. You're going to do all 4 of these yourself. Great. Did you do that all by yourself? Have your grown-up take a photo of it and upload it to Google Classroom so we can see your thinking. Subtracting like fractions. Basically, like fractions have the same denominator. Let's look at this baguette. Here is 1 whole baguette, and it is divided into 4 equal parts. 1 part, 2 parts, 3 parts, 4 parts. So the whole baguette would be 4/4. Now, I gave Chase some of my baguette. I gave Chase 1 of the 4 equal pieces. So I gave Chase 1/4 of the baguette. Let me cross this out because this is going to Chase. Do I still have 4/4? Do I have more than 4/4? Or do I have less than 4/4? What fraction of the baguette do I have left? You guessed it. It's a subtraction problem. I started with my whole baguette, which is 4 of 4 equal pieces. I gave 1/4 to Chase. How many fourths do I have left? 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. I have 3/4 of my baguette left. Did you like my number sentence? Oh, doesn't that look good? Pecan pie. I do enjoy some pecan pie. So Marcus has this much pecan pie. Does it look like he has a hole? What do you think? Yes or no? You're right. It doesn't look like he has a hole. How much does Marcus have of pecan pie? Did you write down the fraction? Well, this here doesn't feel equal to this, does it? Let me help you out. Did that help a little bit? Are you thinking of a fraction? It's a little clearer to see the equal parts. How much pecan pie does Marcus have? Well, you know what? I'm going to break it into different equal parts. I've changed my mind. These are all equal parts. Does Marcus still have the same amount of pecan pie? Sure he does. But we just broke them down into smaller pieces. Can you write the fraction of pecan pie that Marcus has? The numerator and the denominator. So the numerator would be how many pieces he has. I see that Marcus has 1, 2, 3, 4. He has 4 pieces of pie, which would be his numerator. But he has 4 out of how many pieces in the whole? 1 piece, 2 pieces, 3 pieces, 4 pieces, 5 pieces, 6 pieces. So the whole pecan pie would have been 6 pieces. But he only has 4 of the 6 pieces. So Marcus has 4/6 of the pecan pie. So Marcus decides he's going to share. Marcus is going to give 1 of his pieces to Sophie. So Marcus gave 1/6 of the pecan pie to Sophie. So what would that look like in a subtraction sentence? Can you write a subtraction sentence for me? Well, we know Marcus started out with 4/6 of the pecan pie. And he gave Sophie 1 of his pieces. So he gave Sophie 1/6 of the entire pie. How much did he have left? So let's look here. What fraction of the pecan pie does Marcus have left? Write it down. Actually, let me put a little cross it out right there because that's no longer Marcus's piece. He's so good at sharing. So how many does he have left, friends? You're right. He has 3 pieces left. He has 3 pieces of what was originally 6 pieces of pie. So 4/6 minus 1/6 would equal 3/6. Now remember, yesterday we talked about you might not always have fraction bars at home or fraction circles, but you always have your hand to sketch. So that's why using models to draw is a great strategy, especially when adding or subtracting fractions. So let's say that Sydney has 3/4 of a candy bar. She decides to give 1/4 of her candy bar to John. How much of her candy bar does Sydney have left? Now remember, we're drawing a model. So did Sydney start with a whole? She didn't start with a whole, right? But we know a whole would be 4/4 if she had the whole candy bar. But she had 3 of the 4. So Sydney started with 3/4. We have 3/4 here, and we have 3 of 4 over here shaded. She gave, so I'm going to put an S for Sydney. So Sydney gave 1/4 one of the 4 pieces to John. So I'm going to put J for there. How many pieces did Sydney have left? What fraction would Sydney have left? Say it. You're right. She would have 2/4 of the candy bar left. All right, let's make that a little smaller to make some room for the next one. Okay, I'm going to tell a story. Mikey has this much of a donut. Can you write down the fraction that Mikey has? He decides to give Elias 1 of his pieces. How would you write that in a number sentence? You're right. We know that Mikey started off with 2/3 of a donut. He decided to give 1 of his equal pieces to Elias. So how many pieces does Mikey have left? Now remember, we're practicing making a model. A whole donut would be 3/3. So a whole donut would be 3/3. Did Mikey have a whole donut? Nope. Mikey had 2 of the 3 pieces to start. We know he gave Elias 1. Oops, let me change that. So let's put an E there because that's the piece that he gave Elias. And we know that's 1/3. So how many pieces did Mikey have left? Great. Did you write your fraction? Is your numerator 1? What's your denominator? Very good. Mikey had 1/3 left. He started with 2/3. Great, let's make that smaller to make some room to write. Now, I want you to look at the watermelon. In your head, I want you to make up your own story. Great. Can you write a subtraction problem? Fabulous. Can you draw a model to represent that? It is kind of like a bar though, right? A bar model. So can you show me a model? Great. Well, we've come to the end of the lesson. You've worked on using models to help you with subtraction. Here we have 4 problems. You are going to do these 4 problems on your own on a piece of paper. Then you're going to have your grown-up upload it to Google Classroom. So the first one I want you to write down is 3/4 minus 1/4 equals, I want you to write it, the answer, but I also want you to represent it with a model. Your second one will be, write it down, 5/6 minus 3/6. You'll put an answer and a bar model. Your third problem will be, you have 1 whole and you take away a half. Show it with a model and then write your answer in your number sentence or your subtraction sentence. You have 2/3 minus 1/3. Draw a model and then represent your answer here. I hope you had fun. You're doing fantastic with fractions.